Welcome back to LLC. Today we will be making yummy marinade for the steak shish kebabs.
We will be showing you how to make the marinade. These are our ingredients: pure olive oil, marinade and cooking sauce original gourmet, 1 orange, soy sauce, and honey.
The other ingredients that you will be needing is some sugar, onion powder, garlic powder, chopped onion, some pepper, and 5 little pieces of garlic that we have already chopped, and some steak. And don't forget to soak your shish kebab sticks in some water before you put your steak in them. So now you're going to take your marinating sauce and pour more than 1/4 of a cup. So just pour it a little more than 1/4 of a cup. So it's a little bit above 1/4 of a cup, so it's pretty much like that.
The next ingredient we will be using is soy sauce. Cover the bottom layer of 1/3 a cup with soy sauce and pour it in.
So the next ingredient that we will be using is your fresh chopped garlic, and you're just going to pour it in with the rest of your marinade. And now you are just going to whisk it a little, just give it a little whisk, pretty much just like that.
The next thing we will be adding to our marinade is just a swirl of honey.
So the next ingredient that we will be using is olive oil. You are going to want to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. One, 2.
You will be using 3 teaspoons of sugar. One, 2, 3. And after you add in the sugar, you'll mix it with a whisk.
So the next ingredient that we will be using is chopped onion. So you're going to add 1 tablespoon of chopped onion. And it's very hard to twist open. So it's like little holes and you have to be careful. It's very hard to put in there, so just shake a little and do a little layer of it. It's very hard to come out, so just do a little layer.
Now you're going to whisk all the ingredients together. I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and it also has the holes, so you have to be very careful when you pour it in because you don't want too much. Okay, it's very hard, so I'm just going to put a little. Don't put too much or
do like a layer.
It might be just way too garlicky.
I'm going to be doing the same thing, but with onion powder, and instead of taking a tablespoon, I'm just going to layer it out. So just do a quick little layer. Now we're just going to add a pinch of pepper. could also take a pinch of pepper with your hand and just put it in.
Okay, so now you're just gonna have to whisk it again. And it might take a little longer because you have to put all the ingredients together.
And now for the last ingredient, we're going to be adding an orange. So just take your mixture and put it aside. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut an orange. And what you're gonna do with the orange is you're gonna zest it and squeeze all the juice inside. So first we're each gonna zest a little bit, but you wanna zest it inside of the bowl. So you're just gonna zest a little pinch of each side. I think that's good. Just a little. That's good. Okay, so. Now you're just gonna squeeze some orange juice in there from both sides. And just keep on squeezing. And then that was the last ingredient, so this will be the last ingredient to do. And then you're just gonna whisk it. Lastly.
Okay, so now just whisk your mix, and you could have a little taste.
See if it needs anything.
Yeah.
Mostly if you think that you need something, it's usually sugar.
Yeah, like ours is perfect right now.
Yeah, if you usually need, it's like sugar or maybe a little more pepper, just something if you want to add anything. So it's perfect. So now we're going, you're going to pour half of the mixture in. So that's pretty much probably half. And you're going to let this half sit for a little while to let it just sink in for like a few seconds, like maybe like 15 seconds.
Okay, so now I'm gonna pour the rest of the marinade into the steak. Try to mix it around a little. When you pour it in, swirl it around. And now you're just gonna let it sit.
So you're probably gonna wanna wash your hands before and after you do this. I wash my hands and now you are just going to mix it with your hands. So you're just gonna mix with your hands. Like fold it, like if you're folding, if you're baking, just like fold it and mush it. But you don't wanna do it like too much. Just get it where all the pieces of steak has all the marinade in it. And then I think we're pretty much done with this. And you are just gonna wash your hands after this, and now you're gonna put this in the fridge for an hour, and then later after the hour we're going to kebab them on their sticks.
This is how you should mix the meat until it's fully covered in marinade.
So now we're going to put this in the fridge. And before you put this in, you're probably going to want to make some room for when you put this in. Now you're going to leave your steak in for about an hour. The ingredients that you will be needing are zucchini, tomatoes,
Salt,
a fork,
pepper,
Italian seasoning,
grated pecorino romano cheese,
and lastly, olive oil. So the first thing that you're going to want to do for this is just scrape your fork onto just like scrape it, and then you're pretty much good. Because you want some spacing for everything. And you just need to go in the middle, pretty much, and then just do the rest of them. Pretty much where all the seeds are, kind of, but in the middle, I would say. And then because you want all the juices to go down into it, into the zucchini. So. And then don't do so hard where it's like poking in. So that's pretty much good. Now what you're going to be adding is you're just going to sprinkle some salt on. So now we are just going to add a little bit of Italian seasoning, but we already put some on, so we're just going to show you the image of how much you would put on, pretty much sprinkling it. Yeah, one shake like that, so that's good.
Sprinkle a little bit of pepper on each zucchini, just like the amount you put of salt on the zucchini, so it gets flavorful but not too powerful.
So now we both are going to add some of our cheese.
Right on top of the zucchinis.
So now we're just going to sprinkle a lot of cheese. This one you want like a lot of cheese to give it some flavor. Pretty much a big sprinkle on top. Like a lot. Not really where it covers the whole thing, but a lot where you can tell there's cheese on it. So.
And if you have smaller and bigger size zucchinis, you might want to vary the amount of cheese you put on.
Yeah, so that's good.
Now, on top of the cheese, we're going to add some finely diced tomatoes.
And you want to kind of sprinkle them, like leave some tomatoes like where it's all lined up, so there's each bite you get a tomato, and it tastes really good. You don't need all these tomatoes, just like when you cut a tomato, there's going to be more than you use probably when you cut. So if your zucchinis are big, I would add a little more, so bring some flavor to it. So I think this is good for all of our zucchinis. So
we started with a lot, and we only used a little. Oops,
yeah.
I dripped some sauce, but it's good.
We're just going to add more salt on top of the tomatoes to give the tomatoes some flavor when you bite into them. So, just a little more. You don't want to be drenched in tomatoes, like a little sprinkle. So, I'm using olive oil for each one, and you're going to probably just pour some olive oil in your cap and just sprinkle some over everything. You don't want to use the whole cap, but like the whole line through.
To give it some flavor.
So all the flavors go into the olive oil. And if you have extra, just pour it back into the thing. And then we are just going to bake these. So put your zucchinis in for 35 minutes at 400 degrees. This is what our steak looks like after we took it out of the fridge. So now we're getting ready to kebab our sticks, and you also might want to wash your hands before you do this and after you do this. So we're just going to take our sticks and put some pieces of steak, however many that you think you want in there, all nice and juicy, because they've been sitting in, so once you cook them,
They're a little slippery,
yeah.
so just be careful when you put them on.
Don't poke yourself.
Yeah, that could hurt.
Yeah.
So I put 5 pieces on mine.
I put a whole bunch, just however many you like, and we've laid out our cutting board.
So you're just going to lay them out on your cutting board and use all the sticks and put steak on them.
Yeah. So we just took our zucchinis out of the oven and they look delicious.